Why don't we get things underway? Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 7th and final session of our Mayor's Fall Update Series. Today, we'll be featuring Mayor Terry Ugulini, Mayor of Thorold. This series has been very interesting and a lot of fun to follow, and it's very informative. It's a great way for any member of our community to find out what's really going on at this point in time within their communities. And all of our mayors have done a phenomenal job putting together a presentation and talking about the State of the Union, if you want to call it that. I'd like to thank our sponsors, B4 Networks and Growth Associates, for their support in this series. And we also want to thank our partner, Niagara Board of Trade and Commerce, located in Thorold, for partnering with us. The format for this morning will begin with Mayor Ugulini's update, and we'll then follow that by questions and answers. There is a Q&A button at the bottom middle of your screen. Please use that button to post your questions, not the chat button. And we'll hope to get to your question. If we aren't able to, we'll endeavor to answer that question at a later time and get back to you with an answer. So I'd like to now pass the floor on to Mayor Ugulini. Thank you very much, Mayor, for joining us today. And we certainly look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. To start off with, I'd like to start by thanking Dolores Fabiano, Executive Director of the South Niagara Chambers of Commerce, for the invitation to present today, and Vern Malott for moderating my Falls Mayor's Update. And with me today is our Economic Development Manager, Marco Marino, who will be running the slide presentation. So we'll start off with Thorold is rising. What we all knew to be true is that the city of Thorold was always in a position to becoming a leading community within the Niagara region. It is fitting to be here with you today, as you are all leaders in Niagara and all believe in our future potential. Just as we have believed in our city, others from outside the region are seeing all the great things that can be achieved in our community. From quality of life, something we always knew, to investment potential, the growth trajectory is limitless, and with that comes the all-important component, jobs. And now I'll move to slide 2. Shop Thorold campaign. During COVID-19, we launched our Shop Thorold branding and logo to assist our local retailers with exposure and bringing the message home that it is important to shop where you live, love where you shop. Beginning this weekend, we launch our Shop Local campaign that coincides with the holiday shopping season, as well as our Festival of Lights. Small businesses across the country, shops, restaurants, service industry, to name a few, have been greatly impacted by the pandemic and now more than ever need our support. A great way to do that is to patronize these businesses during the upcoming holiday season. I cannot express how important it is for us to convey the same message and to believe not only in our city, but the entire region and their combined potential. The city of Thorold and the Niagara region are changing, and we need to embrace that change and have consistent messaging both for local consumers as well as visitors. This is an important slide. This is how our community will rise above the rest through partnership, collaboration, and shared success. Those that do not seek these opportunities will be left behind. These partnerships are the key to moving forward, and we always look and try and develop partnerships on a daily basis. Together, we can build back better. This is not just about bricks and mortar. This is a mindset, one that needs to be ingrained in all of us. We must never forget that we all have a contribution to make in our future across all levels, locally, regionally, provincially, nationally, and globally. Momentum. I can assure you that the city of Thorold is rising. We are seeing a wave of activity that we have not seen in years. It started with residential growth, which is still ongoing, and now we are seeing it on the commercial industrial side, which strengthens our tax base and provides the important element, jobs. By embracing this momentum, being smart about it, and constantly working to improve, we can leverage this opportunity as we move forward. Once again, this is how our welcoming community will rise above others through partnership, collaboration, and shared success. 27% growth since 2019. Like I mentioned earlier, it began with residential growth, and it is now a welcome destination for commercial industrial investment. Quality of life for existing and new residents cannot be understated. You cannot find a better location than the city of Thorold in the Niagara region for a logistical and strategic location perspective. We continue to leverage our Niagara brand and familiarize future investors with the benefits of locating in our city through our economic development manager, Marco Marino. With access to skilled workers, excellent post-secondary institutions, Brock University and Niagara College, and the required infrastructure, we are becoming a location of choice. Access to 60% of the North American industrial market within a day's drive, and this is strategically very important. The industrial market of North America is a powerhouse, and we are well positioned to take advantage of that, as well as being globally competitive. Our Niagara regional partners are now a member of the Consider Canada Cities Alliance and Invest in Canada, which ultimately puts the city of Thorold on the global map. Our economic development manager is working tirelessly to promote our city as a destination for investment. Through his relationships with our regional partners, we are exploring a new level of investment potential and putting Thorold on the global stage. This is a huge, this has been a huge development and a huge success already, and it's only going to continue to grow, and that's the Thorold Multimodal Hub. In the last year, we have seen more than 200,000 square feet of new industrial capacity invested right here in the city of Thorold, and there is no indication of this investment and momentum slowing down. The memorandum of understanding signed with our partners, HOPA, on the BioVald Canada property, City of Welland, City of Port Colborne, with the intent to revitalize canal fronting lands along the Welland Canal Trade Corridor, is a perfect example of how collaboration brings about success and sustainable growth. What you may not know is that there are many new businesses that have become part of the Thorold family, and there are more to come. The Thorold Multimodal Hub is really gaining traction. Stay tuned for future announcements. These are some of the businesses that have already set up in the Multimodal Hub, and we're working continuously with, you're gonna hear some, I say, tremendous announcements coming up in the near future. It is important to celebrate investment, our entrepreneurs, and those risk takers that believe in our city and its potential. We welcome the following companies to our great city. These new businesses are spread out across the city. There are still many more investments in the pipeline, and those businesses will soon also call the city of Thorold home. And the beauty of these businesses that you see on this slide is that they're spread out across the city. So it's not just in one area. We're seeing the uptake across the city geographically, and we look forward to many more coming in the near future. Infrastructure. Without infrastructure, we cannot move forward. An example of that, the investment by Bell in the latest 5G technology in our municipality was a welcome upgrade that will not only support existing residents and businesses, but help to attract new businesses by providing the necessary technological assets. COVID-19 has highlighted the importance of being connected and the high-speed broadband infrastructure. I was thrilled to be the only mayor noted in their national press release, which further exposed our city to the rest of the nation. We all know the Battle of Beaver Dams Park is currently going through a welcome and long overdue facelift, one that will bring accessibility and its full potential to the next level. While COVID-19 has stopped us from hosting certain events in the park, The future looks bright. We cannot wait to once again welcome the community back to this great asset and gathering place. This project is not only important for those reasons, but it's also important because it complements our downtown revitalization project that was completed in 2020. We'll go through some businesses now. Book Depot, named one of Canada's best managed companies in 2021. This business is our Amazon in the Niagara region. Being one of Thorold's and the Niagara region's largest employers, they continue to invest in new technology to maintain their relevance. With a recent $7 million upgrade, they will be able to maintain competitiveness and continue to provide the quality product and services they offer. A true staple in our downtown that drives traffic and other quality business offerings to the core of our city. And this business is one of the best kept secrets in Niagara, and it's located in the old paper mill across from the Thorold Arenas. And it's just a classic example of a building from a previous business being upgraded and now having a business like Book Depot, which is just outstanding. Ram Design Incorporated. You think of it and they can make it. From concept to design to processing to installation, this business is an absolute gem in the city of Thorold that needs to be exposed and talked about. With clients such as Google, Grey Goose, Lacoste, Canadian Tire, Toronto Raptors, and other global brands, they can build and install compelling fixtures and displays that create lasting impressions. These are just some of the installations that they have been responsible for. The peace sign, for those of you that travel to the Distillery District in Toronto for the Christmas market, would have seen this fantastic installation, as well as the temporary Humanity Art installation that was installed in front of Union Station for Messiah Urgi's Humanity Movement. And he's the manager of the Toronto Raptors, which was inspired by Nelson Mandela's fight for equality for all people. Job well done by a business located right here in the city of Thorold. Mountain View Building Group doesn't just build homes, but they are also one of the most philanthropic businesses in our community. We are very happy to have their headquarters right here in the city of Thorold. They create, but they also give back in spades, as they understand the importance of health and wellness and its contribution to the community as a whole. With a recent $1 million donation to support Pastone's primary school on Merrickville Highway in Thorold, called the Mountain View Center for Innovative Learning, and just announced $1 million donation to Hospice Niagara. They are truly leaders showcasing their commitment to the residents of the Niagara region. Norgem Biotech, with a Ministry of Health permit for saliva-based COVID-19 testing right here in Niagara, and amazing innovations taking place daily on site, it is no wonder that this explanatory business is going through a two-phase expansion that has seen their business grow from approximately 50 to over 100 employees in the last year. The team at Norgen recently was part of the Ontario Chamber of Commerce Difference Makers campaign, which was looking how small and medium-sized businesses, SMEs, in Ontario have adopted and pivoted during COVID-19. As well, Norgem Biotech was also a recipient of the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce Innovative Leaders Award presented by the GNCC at the Niagara Business Achievement Awards. They continue to showcase how businesses in the city of Thorold and across Niagara are leading the way in health and wellness. We thank them for their commitment to our city and Niagara. There are many more established businesses that we could talk about, but due to time constraints, I'll just mention a few of them and we'll save them for future presentations. Walker Industries, Front Row Sports, Big Red Markets, the Post Office by Shannon Passero, Henderson's Pharmacy, and I could go on and on. Residential development. The residential development boom continues and shows no signs of slowing down. We in the entire Niagara region have become a destination, and I truly believe that quality of life is an important part of that equation. This has become more evident due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Relocating families look for a safe community, good schools, amenities like parks, trails, and recreation facilities, affordability, and job prospects. The city of Thorold is a welcoming community that can offer this and so much more. Remember, all roads lead through Thorold, or as I like to call it, the new GTA. And now I'm open for questions and then some closing remarks.
Oh, that's fantastic, Mayor. That's a great presentation, and I'm exhausted.
I know, but I can tell you, we could have went through so much more, but you know, you don't want to be overwhelming, and we wanted to stick to some strategic points and some new businesses that are making an impact in the city.
That is just awesome, and you know, the ones that are here now, you know, Book Depot, Ram, Mountain View, Norgen, Walker. Those are names of stellar companies, and what they've done is astounding. And you provided them the infrastructure and the facility for them to grow. So it's fantastic. Way to go. You did talk about the multimodal hub and the relationships with HOPA and who they're attracting into that area. Naturally, you can't divulge any movements that are underfoot, any potential new businesses that are kicking tires and so on and so forth. That's something you can't talk about. But you did kind of hint to the fact that there is some stuff coming on. Are you happy to date with your multimodal hub initiative? And in general, what do you see for it in 2022 without being too optimistic? But well, what are the potentials that you're looking at for 2022?
Well, I'm beyond optimistic for the multimodal hub because in a short period of time that it's been up and running, we're attracting people to that site. And that's through all the thanks goes to BioValve Canada for their investment in the property and the excellent relationship and managing of HOPA Ports. And what I didn't mention as well is across the channel from that property, the old McClary docks is HOPA Ports purchased that property and they manage that and run that property as well.
Wow.
So that, but the big thing there is that it's just amazing the traction that facility is gaining. And I can tell you on a weekly basis, we get phone calls and of companies that are doing their due diligence and looking at setting up and the biggest thing is location and multimodal hub having all the, having the infrastructure in place it's there. So, it doesn't take a lot to take advantage of that, but we'll have a couple of good announcements coming. I'm hoping to have one before the end of the year, and then early in the new year, I think you'll hear more. But again, that's going to be up to BioValve and HOPA to let us know when we can make it those announcements and that we're looking forward to working together with them.
That's fantastic. Is HOPA looking to use that north side for bulk transfer or do they have
yes,
anything
they
else?
already are. They already are. So it's already
wow.
up. They're already utilizing it. So, yeah.
So we're the new Hamilton Harbor already.
Exactly.
Pretty cool.
Well, you know what? We're situated, and if you look along the whole Welland Canal, there's a multitude of opportunities. So, and you know what? We're reinventing ourselves because if you go back when I grew up, it was bustling along that canal, and so we're going back in time to where we were. It's actually amazing, and sometimes. Things happen for a reason. You get a certain business, like the paper industry, especially in newsprint, that was deteriorating because of the way the markets change. But something else has come to take its place, and I truly believe that in time, that property will have more employees working on it than we did when it was a paper mill.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. Anything new on the Dana property? Is that still in the works, or what's happening there? I'm not sure personally.
Well, again, we don't own that property. That property is owned by a Chinese company. There's a lot of interest in the property, And there's a lot of people that have shown interest in the property. So we're hoping that something can happen, between the owners and the people kicking tires. So.
Cool. That's great. The integrated transit system, the regional council vote happened last week, and now the votes are passed on to the municipalities. What's your view on it? How do you think it's going to fly with regards to the Thorold Council?
Well, I've always been a big proponent of regional transit, and from my point of view, it's taken far too long, but we're moving now. We're getting close. I think that based on the questions that were asked at our council meetings and the answers that have been given to the inquiries by council, I think that any concerns we have been addressed, and I'm confident our council will be supportive. I know one thing, because of our location in Niagara, and I said this in my presentation, all roads lead through Thorold, that not only will Niagara gain from regional transit, but I really believe that we will be a big winner with regional transit. And especially in our growth areas, which border on Welland and Niagara Falls, to get an improved transit system in those areas is really important.
Also, you look at the size of Brock University and the population of the students there and so on and so forth. A lot of them, I'm sure, reside in Thorold, and proper transit for them is going to be very important too.
Absolutely. But that part of the transit is going to really affect people outside of that area, because right now we purchase transit from St. Catharines, and we have a good system that services that. But this is going to expand that service, and there's a lot of students that have a hard time getting to the university from the outlying areas, and it's definitely going to be a plus, not only for Brock, but also for Niagara College.
And the on-demand service, what's your thoughts on that with regards to?
Well, I think the on-demand service was imperative to get the outlying communities on board. If they were going to be part of regional transit, they need to get some service in those areas. And the best service that made sense was on demand. And there may be even some outlying areas in Thorold where on demand makes sense. So I think that's a definite positive.
Not bad. You're booming when it comes to housing, and that's not an understatement. That's the truth. Is it going to slow down? Are you running out of land, or do you see this continuing for 5 years or so? What's the situation regarding residential housing there?
Well, I would say that over the next 5 years, it's not slowing down. And the reason I say that is there's still a lot of phases to go in Rolling Meadows. And there's 2 big phases to come in Port Robinson West, phase 2 and phase 3. So I would say that over the next 5 years, you're going to see a continued growth on the residential side. The beauty of that, and people can always say, we need business. Yes, but rooftops drive business, because at the end of the day, people that move into those homes need to go to stores, to service industries, and so and we're seeing that now. We're seeing the growth on the commercial industrial side, and I think that a big part of that is not just the growth in Thorold, but the growth throughout the outlying areas. As really, I believe we're going to see a drive in growth in jobs and businesses.
Some people talk about it as a reverse brain drain, in the sense that we're bringing Toronto talent to Niagara and into new housing. They're keeping their jobs, they're running them from home, and we're bringing in workers that are already working and setting up here. Do you see that with the cohort of buyers that are setting up new homes and so forth, or?
Well, I think that's a fair comment to say that that's part of it, but that's not the whole piece. I mean, you can look at what we're doing, and I'll take Norgem Biotech, the Thorold Multimodal Hub. These are attracting jobs. We brought in a company called Quartz Company that makes high-end quartz countertops and mantles and bathroom panels. And up on Highway 20 and Cottameyer Road, and bang, 80 jobs right there.
Wow.
You know, people, these are the stories that we have to get out there.
80 jobs.
Yeah. And like, you know, Book Depot is all, you know, they got a sign in front of Book Depot that they're hiring. Yeah, like, so I think that you combine the whole ball of wax, and it's a combination of everything.
That's awesome. The negative discussion when it comes to housing and residential development, of course, is affordability and densification. What is Thorold doing with regards to housing affordability right now? Is there any movement afoot, or do you see it happening? Or,
well, there's two parts. There's affordable housing and housing affordability, right? And they're two different separate. And affordable housing, we're working to try and find ways to address that. One thing that's happening, we're hoping to break ground. Well, it's not us, it's the Thorold Municipal Nonprofit Housing Corporation, which is a separate arm, but they are hoping to break ground in the spring on a 60-unit new build in Artisan Estates on Beaver Dams Road, which will be tremendous. The other thing, I think what I'm hoping is that if you look across from the existing lofts on Shimon Parkway, you're going to see 6 new units go in. They're going to do 3 and then another 3. It's over 1,000 beds. What I'm hoping is that will drive some of the students out of the subdivisions into those that type of housing, and free up some residential housing and make it more affordable, because it's pretty hard to compete with the student housing on affordability for somebody that wants to rent a unit. So I think purpose-built student housing and purpose-built affordable housing are 2 areas we need to really look at expanding.
Cool. And what about densification? Do you see any of that happening in downtown Thorold or anything like that? Is it?
Oh
is
yeah,
it
you're
coming?
going to see more intensification in the downtown. Intensification is great for downtown area. We've been doing it, and you see some of the units that have gone up in the downtown area. And I look at, in talking to developers, that I would say within the next 1 and 2 years, you're going to see more, a couple more good sized units go in the downtown area. But to me, intensification in the downtown area is good, because it's that drives people to the downtown area that can spend money in our downtown area. And I think that that is an area where intensification really works well. We can say there should be intensification across the city, and you're going to see more intensification because the province is pushing intensification, but it's a change of mindset of what people are used to, right? Everybody wants intensification, but they don't necessarily want it in their own backyard. So it's a change of mindset. Like if you go to Europe, that's the way they live there, you know. And at some point in time here, we're going to have to look at different concepts, because affordability is one, and the other is there's a big push now to save our, you know, to save our agricultural and forests and great lands that people want to enjoy, and they've learned to enjoy it more through COVID. So you know, there's a push against urban sprawl, you
know. Developers today, of course, are making a lot of money just because there is so much residential growth, and they're going to continue to try to get, you know, zonings changed where possible, and you can't blame them. Their modus operandi is to make a profit. One thing that did come up recently is developers trying to convert employment lands south of Shimon Parkway into residential. And so how did the city handle that? And is this something that you've commonly had to handle, or what happened in that particular case?
Well, that hasn't happened. That's just, you know, what you're talking about is an area, nothing's come before council regarding that. I would say flat out, based on the Brock business plan, that I don't see our planning department supporting that. I know that my personal opinion are that and is that employment lands, we need to preserve our employment lands. You're starting to see the traction on our employment lands, and they're so important and they're so valuable that if we want to produce jobs and move forward, our employment lands are a big part of that.
Nice. You have a 2022 budget coming up. Have you completed it? What does it look like? And can you give us a bit of a hint as to whether you're putting across a 15% increase in taxes or?
Well, there won't be no 15% increase. No, the way we're approaching our budget is the region should be finished their budget but before Christmas. Actually, I think that over the next 2 weeks, the budget at the region should be finalized. Then we will, traditionally, we start our budget in January, and with the hope that we're done our budget by the end of January. So I look at us starting our budget sometime early or mid-January, with the hope of having it completed by the end of January. And I can say that, you know, nobody's looking at ridiculous tax increases. I mean, that's not palatable. And I would say that based on our past budgets, this is a very prudent council, and we'll come up with a budget that's, I think, will, at the end of the day, do what we have to do, but be smart and make sure we spend the taxpayers' dollars wisely.
Good. And we have a municipal election coming up in 2022. Certainly not the time for a 15% budget increase, but nonetheless, well, let me ask the question: are you throwing your hat in the ring, or is it too early to say?
Well, you know, I haven't made that final decision yet. I'll sit down with my wife and we'll have a good discussion. I know personally that we've come a long way in 4 years, well, 3 years, but it'll be 4 years by the time the election comes. I know that to do everything that you really hope to do, sometimes it takes more than one term. I would, you know, I would believe that 2 terms you can accomplish a lot more, but I'm not going to make that decision today.
You've certainly got a great legacy for the 3 years you've been there, though. I mean, you know, the stats are fantastic. So congratulations on your leadership in that regard.
Well, it's everybody pulling together. It's council, it's the staff. Nobody rides this alone, and nobody can make a difference alone. So, you know.
With regards to voting methods, what do you see as the town picking as their preferred voting method for the upcoming election?
We've already done it. Just so we're going to have in-person voting and internet voting. So that's been passed at council. The city clerk's working on that right now, and she has experience with internet voting in her previous job. So we've passed that, and I think the big thing and the reason why council was supportive of internet voting is we want to get more people to vote. If you look at the municipal numbers during municipal elections, the turnouts are not good. I think our last election was 39% or something in that range. It's we want to be able to get that number up, and secondly, we want to make it accessible to more people, and you can do this through internet voting, because you can move stations around the city as well. Okay, so you know, we can go into the senior center, we can go into the outlying areas, and people will be voting by internet, but it'll be an actual, like, polling station, you know. So and it gives us a longer period to allow people to vote. So I think there's a lot of positives there, and you know, so that's where we're heading for the next election.
It'll certainly help with COVID distancing too, if we still have that issue in place when the election comes around. So
I hope that's not the case.
Not the case, yeah. In your 3 years in office, you know, you obviously had COVID hit midstream, if not a little earlier. In looking back, recollecting on that experience, you know, the natural ones that have been hit hard are restaurants and so forth. What have you seen as mayor, as far as good news, bad news with regards to COVID, and then how has your town fared?
Well, I was going to touch on this in my closing remarks, but a few things that I will say is that the past 20 months of the COVID pandemic's been difficult for everyone. You know, the anxiety level out in the community is higher. No municipality will emerge without any scars. I think we're going to emerge better than most because we don't rely on tourism and hospitality. That being said, there's no question that small businesses across, not just in the city of Thorold, across the country, like shops, restaurants, service industry, they've been greatly impacted. And now more than ever, they need our support. And that's why I mentioned one way we can do that is through this holiday season, making sure we patronize these businesses. That being said, we've actually been very fortunate with a lot of the businesses that I talked about in my presentation about the number of jobs we've attracted to the city of Thorold during COVID. And so overall, we've been very fortunate, but like I said, there are businesses that have been impacted, and those are the businesses we need to support. But overall, I would say if I did numbers, we've actually had a net gain in jobs over COVID in the city of Thorold.
Wow.
When
wow.
you start businesses that I mentioned and you start adding those numbers up, you know. So.
Yeah, and if COVID weren't there, it would have been on afterburners. I mean, to think about it, because you know we had a lot of companies pretty dormant, and through that dormant period, you did exceptionally well as far as economic development.
And that is a big thing. Now, you know, when I ran in the last election, my number one thing was economic development, business retention, and expansion, because you know, you heard it at the doors. People want a job. They want to be able to stay in the area. They got to be able to find employment. The biggest challenge we have now is housing affordability, because the prices have gone so you know, up so fast that a lot of people, especially young, like I look at my own kids, you know, they're saving and they're working hard and they have good jobs, and but just to get the down payment, yeah, it's extremely hard. So we need to, that's an area that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, no. A lot of municipalities are putting together a strategic plan for 2022. I don't know if it's the timing for Thorold to be doing that as well or not. Well, what's your timing on a strategic plan for the city?
Our strategic plan we completed, I think we're about a year and a half into our new strategic plan. So we have an active strategic plan. And, you know, one thing I can say and that I'm proud of is that council made the choice to continue moving ahead, doing the downtown revitalization project, doing the Battle of Beaver Dams project, and not kicking those down the road. Because if we would have kicked those down the road, and you've seen how costs have gone up, not only would we have had to pay more for those, but then you're moving other jobs down the pecking order that need to be done in short order. And we have a lot of projects that we need to address. And so we can't be kicking projects down the road because it's, you know, they'll cost you more, and you're not solving the issue of maintaining your infrastructure and facilities within the city.
Does Thorold have any brownfield development potentials underway or possibilities? Are there any lands in that?
Yeah, we have a few. The biggest one is Artisan Estates. Artisan Estates is currently ongoing, and that's where our new Thorold Municipal Nonprofit Housing Unit's going to go. That was the old Exelon property.
Right.
And so that's a big development that's currently ongoing. And then there's some smaller pockets that are being remediated and within the city, but that's definitely the biggest one.
Not bad, not bad. I really liked your comment about it's a great slogan. All roads lead to Thorold.
All roads lead to
It's really
Thorold.
that's the you have to get Ram Design to put that up in lights somewhere, right?
Yeah, I think that should be our new slogan. I really do. But it's
it's
true.
fantastic.
Really,
It's
it really
true.
is true. If
It's
you look
true.
at,
You,
if you
you are
actually,
the you are the physical epicenter of transportation for Niagara.
we are, and if you look at, we're surrounded by the three biggest municipalities. So the roads to get through all those places go through Thorold. So we need to leverage that. We really do.
Maybe you should put up a lift bridge and charge for passage or something. I don't know.
We have the ferry. You can have a free ferry ride in
There you
Port.
go. There you go. On a minor point, the Weir Bridge on the west side of Ellenberg Bridge was supposed to be reconstructed. I think the last time we spoke, that was what a year ago. I remember you brought that up,
Okay,
and I've been waiting with bated breath. Every time I go to Costco in Niagara Falls, I think is the last time I'm going to cross, but because Mayor Ugulini said it's it's going to be under construction for a while, and it hasn't happened. So what's happening with that bridge?
it's budgeted. It will happen. I think you'll see it go out to tender, and it will happen. I think one of the big reasons, first of all, when they close it for a while, make sure it's safe, right? And that's priority one. The other issue was it would have been pretty hard to shut that down until the tunnel project was complete. Can you imagine if you had that down and the tunnel at the same time? So we really pushed from the municipality to make sure that the tunnel project was complete before we moved on to any surrounding projects, because it would have been utter chaos.
Yeah.
And now that project is complete. That project is complete, the tunnel.
I assume there's a lot of infrastructure already in the Hopa property area from past industrial development there. Is infrastructure an issue anywhere, or are you in a position to have a lot of land that's already serviced because of past paper mills and whatever else that's sat on those properties? What's the situation? Is that infrastructure too old, has to be completely rebuilt, or are you shovel ready for a lot of acreage?
We are, the Hayes Dana property, the old Georgia Pacific property, those properties would be ready to go.
Wow.
The Hopa property, the old Resolute Forest property, the only thing they have to do is there's one short piece of track that needs to be redone, and it's very minor. That's a small project. And then the other thing they're doing is they're going to be dredging that channel to make sure that then boats can tie up on both sides. So that's
amazing.
It really, when you look at it, the access to the highways are there. The rails there, you'll have the boats being able to come in, and like even the trucks that come in and out, the weigh station, everything's there from the paper mill. Like you don't even need to install a weigh station.
There's even a weigh station in the infrastructure.
Yeah, so no, that property is a gem, and I think that's why it's gaining so much traction.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Going back to a retrospective question here, you've been in power for 3 years, coming on to the fourth. Potentially, I'll say potentially, you'd be wanting to finish what you've started and go for another 4 years. If at that juncture, what would you be doing differently in the next 4 versus the last 4? In terms of, would you like to start doing that you didn't do? Would you like to stop or see the city stop? And what would you like to see continue? So what are your start, stop, continue thoughts if you turned the page over and said, okay, I've got another term here?
I think most of it would be continue. I'd say that the thing that I really thought was important, which I told you before, was economic development, business retention, and expansion. I think that's a key to keep moving forward on. I think that only not only are we providing jobs, but it's essential for our tax base. If you want to be able to do projects within your city without killing the taxpayer, then having that tax assessment from the commercial industrial side is it's imperative. And you know, if you go back in time when the city was bustling with paper mills and those type of things, that made it easier to keep, you know, to be able to do things you needed to do with modest tax increases. And the other thing is, those businesses that you bring in also support your local economy with spin-off jobs, but also sponsoring minor sports, the arts, events that you run in the city. Like when they become part of that community and fabric, it just is a win-win all around. So I would think that that would be imperative to continue. The other thing which I've always felt that, and I think we've learned that through COVID, is amenities, parks, trails, recreation. Those are important. People now, that they've learned the importance of getting out in nature and going for a walk and having a picnic in the park. I think those amenities are crucial. We've been very diligent in the city of Thorold on really improving our trail system for active transportation. The latest link that we completed was from Merivale Highway to the DQ Heritage Park that was completed in the fall. And we have other links that we want to continue. We want to eventually, the link is now complete from Brock University down to Collier Road. We want to take that in the next phase and carry it all the way downtown. And so eventually, you know, you'll be able to go around the whole city on a trail system that's safe. And, you know, I just think that those type of things are important. And I think that we as a city, when you talk to the residents, they want those amenities. They also, a big thing I get a lot is they really want us to enforce our bylaws. Bylaw enforcement. They really want to make sure that people follow the rules, that we got a city that we can be proud of. So our bylaw department, you know, they're in, you can't, how do I say it? Everybody wants that until they get a ticket, right? You know, it's the old thing. But
I love it.
I think that because we're in, we have a lot of students in the municipality, it's important for us. Our, you know, our bylaw presence is huge, and so that's an area that I get a lot of feedback on.
Has Airbnb been an issue in terms of setting up temporary housing for tourists and so forth? Has that been a bylaw issue as well?
It's a growing concern. I think if you talk to any municipality, it's becoming an industry of its own. Yeah. I don't. It's in Thorold. There are. It's happening, but not at the level of some other municipalities. But one thing we did put in place, and I think you could compare us in that state to municipalities like London, Kitchener-Waterloo, Oshawa, different municipalities like that, is we have a residential licensing program. And so what we do is if you have a rental property, it gets inspected and has to pass the inspections. And then it has to be renewed every 2 years, not every year, every 2 years. And that's just to make sure that those properties, first of all, we know where those properties are, and secondly, we make sure that that they're safe and up to code.
You talked about the tax base a little earlier. You know, you don't have tourism. You're not super big in commercial, and yet your employment numbers are skyrocketing. But I would suspect that those jobs are in higher paying jobs.
They're most of them are in good paying. Like you get a company like Norgem Biotech, yeah, which is, those are good paying jobs. You know, the sure. multimodal hub, those are good paying jobs. Like so that's a big plus. That you don't only want jobs, but you need to have jobs that people can afford to do the things they need to do. And
so because you have a lot of industrial development going on, it's helping your tax base, it's lowering your taxes, it's making housing more affordable because you're not putting 15% increases on your municipal tax rates, and you're servicing higher priced jobs, which again can afford more. They can pay more for their housing. So in a way, it's a nice cycle that you're helping housing affordability by increasing the wealth of your city and through your economic development.
Well, and I think that when you look at it, and you talked about those are important factors. Now, what we're seeing is we're just seeing the front end wave of that, right? So I think a lot of the benefits of what we're seeing are actually going to grow as we move forward. And excuse me, I got to just shut my phone off. But the other thing, when you talked about tourism and that, I think we realized that we're not Niagara Falls or Niagara on the Lake, but we try and draw those tourists that go to those areas to come into Thorold and spend a day, enjoy our historic downtown. And we now, in fact, about just over a week ago, I was at the designation of our 54th site in Thorold. We lead the province per capita in designated sites. There's cities that have more designated sites than us, but they're bigger cities. We had our 54th designation, so that's something we can leverage. The Welland Canal, cycling, our historic, our heritage preservation, those are things that, people can come into Thorold, spend a day, have lunch downtown, do a little shopping. So I think that's where our niche is, And
that's awesome.
A big thing, which I think is only going to grow with the Canada Games Park, is sports tourism. And yourself, we had a tournament here 2 weeks ago, 24 teams, 4 local, and 20. Most of the teams that came were from London, Windsor area. They stay in hotels, they have lunch in the restaurants, and they spend money locally. So I really believe that that could be an area of growth for us as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Did you have any concluding comments, Mayor Ugulini, regarding what we talked about? Is there anything you wanted to wrap up with?
Well, like I was telling you, everybody knows the past 20 months have been difficult, and like I mentioned, no municipality will emerge without some scars. That being said, lessons learned must be acted on, and improvements or change must occur in the areas where deficiencies have been exposed. And two I mentioned are long-term care, but the other one that really I think is something that's going to benefit Niagara is supply chain. People have realized the problems with supply chain and supply chain issues. With our geographic and strategic location, I think this is an area we can really leverage supply chain. And I think that's an area where we can see tremendous growth. You can't go without mentioning our frontline workers that have gone above and beyond, and their efforts and sacrifices we must never forget and take for granted. And again, like I said, our small businesses, we need to make sure that we support them, not only during the holiday season, but always, but especially important during this holiday season. I think that's, and there's other areas we talked about that we know we have to work on, but it's going to take a collaborative effort to affordable housing, and housing affordability is going to take all levels of government coming together and looking outside the box for solutions, because it's definitely a big issue. It's not just an issue in Niagara, it's an issue with everybody you talk to.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, last but not least, Mayor Ugulini, that was a great conversation, and I learned a lot personally, and I think everybody else will who's listening and who will listen. Want to thank you so much for your preparation and for your honest answers, and and yeah, it's been really nice. Thank you so much for that.
Well, thank you, Vernon. I appreciate that. And like I said, for the opportunity to be here today. And I want to also thank Marco Marino, our Economic Development Manager, who ran the PowerPoint presentation and works tirelessly to move the city of Thorold forward.
Yeah, Thorold's got a great guy there, and obviously his efforts are starting to show already. So it's fantastic. And we've had a great relationship with the city of Thorold, with the Chamber of Commerce, the South Niagara Chamber of Commerce, as well as your own Board of Trade, and certainly we look forward to that continuing, and I'm certain it will.
Yeah, it definitely will. And again, and the other thing I want to happy holidays to everybody, and hopefully is be able to spend some time with family this year, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I look forward to with optimism to 2022.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Well, that concludes our series for the Fall Winter Mayor's Update series, and thank you to our viewers for tuning in and watching. And they're all available if you want to check up on them or refer to them in the future at our website. We have weekly podcasts that are continuing, South Niagara Conversations. You can access those podcasts on the Chamber YouTube channel, Spotify, iTunes, Google, Stitcher. So if you're interested in that, by all means, have a look. There are some very interesting conversations there to look into. Mentioned by Mayor Ugulini is the Shop Local initiative, and shop locally is so important today to all those small businesses that are within our communities. The one thing that the South Niagara Chamber has done is they've instituted a Niagara gift card program. If you're not aware of it as a small business, or if you know anybody with a small business, they should surely look into it. The cost is free, and obviously it's a great way to get cash up front, and also to have newcomers come to your facility, your store, and buy for the first time with a great likelihood that they'll come back again. We are continuing with the rapid testing kits initiative. To date, the South Niagara Chambers have handed out over 40,000 kits to local businesses. These are free, and the value of kits we've handed out to date is $600,000. So if you are in a situation where you need rapid testing done, call our chamber and we can help you out. As always, our website's full of information as to what's coming up, activities, and so on and so forth, resources, and always feel free to pick up the phone and call us, and we're happy to help you that way too. So that concludes it. As Mayor said, happy best season to you for Hanukkah, Christmas, and our vacation period coming up. So all the best to everybody. Thank you again, Mayor.
Thank you so much.